guys, this is Cold Turkey, and today we're going to be talking about a new warrior build. Last time I talked about hammer rifle build. Well, today I'm going to be talking about a Greatsword build, and technically I'm going to be talking about a Greatsword in one weapon slot and then Mace-Shield in the other slot. And you don't have to go Mace-Shield with this. You could do rifle instead or something else. But Mace-Shield is definitely pretty awesome, and we'll talk about why later. But the key focus of this build is the Greatsword and massive amounts of damage. So first of all, I already wrote the guide for this before I made the video, so go check out the guide and look through it, and everything's there in plain text. Sometimes when you're watching a video, it can be a lot harder to understand what's going on. But if you go through the guide and you read it, thumbs up it if you like it, leave a comment, whatever. It'll definitely let you know. So let's start out with your weapons. First of all, you're going to have a Greatsword, obviously, and you're going to want to sigil a rage with that. 10% chance on critical to gain quickness for 3 seconds, which is important. Then your other weapon slots are going to be mace and a shield. With the mace, you want Sigil Superior Battle, so when you weapon swap, you're going to get stacks of might, and then on the shield, plus 50% stun duration with a Sigil Superior Paralyzation. So that's kind of your weapon setup, and then we'll go into your traits. You're going to go 20 down strength, which is going to give you a lot of power and condition duration. So your 5 will automatically give you reckless dodge, and the 15 down strength will automatically give you building momentum, which means you damage foes at the end of a dodge roll, and then with building momentum, your burst skills restore endurance. What are you going to choose when you go 20 down strength? You're going to take number 5, Berserker's Power, which increases your damage based on how much adrenaline you have built up. 12% damage increase with a stage 3 adrenaline. Very important. And then the second one you're going to take is number 9, or 1X, Roman numeral, and that's Slashing Power. Greatsword and Spear damage is increased by 10%. Next, you're going to go 30 down Arms, which is going to give you a ton of precision and condition damage. You automatically, at 5, get Precise Strikes, 33% chance to cause bleeding on critical hits, very important. You automatically get, at 15, Critical Burst. Burst skills have a 10% increased critical chance, that's nice. And then you automatically get a 25, Attack of Opportunity, increased damage to bleeding foes by 10%, and, that's okay. But what's important is what you take when you go 30 down Arms, not what you automatically get. First of all, you take 5 Rending Strikes, 33% chance to cause vulnerability on critical hits. Next up, you take Momentous Greatsword, which is 10. You gain might on critical hit with a Greatsword or Spear. Greatsword and Spear skills recharge 20% faster. So you can already see where this is heading. And also to note that if you're underwater, your Spear's doing pretty good too. But anyway. And then you're going to take 12 as your last one, which is called Last Chance. Gain quickness for 4 seconds when you strike a foe with less than 25% health. So you've seen a couple of things that talk about quickness up to now. What is quickness? Well, quickness just means your abilities execute that much faster, which doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it is huge. Because when you execute your abilities faster, your damage output just goes through the roof. We don't take anything down defense and tactics. And then we take 20 down Discipline. You automatically, for taking 5, you get Versatile Rage, gain 5 strikes Adrenaline on a weapon swap. That's really handy. You automatically gain Fast Hands at 15. Weapon swapping recharges 5 seconds faster. That's really handy. So those are really 2 good autos you get for going 20 down Discipline. And remember that Discipline also increases your critical damage and your burst skill damage. That's really important, the critical damage. And we'll kind of be bringing things together. But you want to take Roman numeral V, or 5, which is Heightened Focus. And the more adrenaline you have, stage 3 adrenaline, 9% critical hit chance bonus. And then you're going to take 10 on your second one, which is Mobile Strikes. Movement skills, break and mobilize. Remember, with Greatsword, your 3 and your 5 are both considered movement skills. And it's really important that you take that break and mobilize. Why? Because if you look at Balanced Stance, which is one of the utilities you can equip, Balanced Stance gains stability. Look at stability. It doesn't stop Immobilize. It stops a lot of things like stuns, knockdowns, knockback, but it doesn't stop Immobilize. It is absolutely critical that for this build to go 20 down Discipline so you can get that Mobile Strikes, because there are a few professions in this game that rely on Immobilizes to lock you down. A good example of that would be a Dagger Thief. Dagger Thieves, at least the ones I've fought and talked to, rely on that Immobilize to lock you down and then completely destroy you in a few seconds. Really handy to be able to use your 3, your Spinning Blade or whatever it's called, to just kind of swoosh out of it. So that brings us to utilities. We take Mending, Heal Yourself, and Cure 2 conditions. That's important because we don't have a way to get rid of conditions normally. Now, you don't have to take Mending. You could also take, if you want to, Healing Surge, because you've probably noticed this by now. Our build is not really using our Adrenaline bar. We're just sort of building it up to stage 3 and letting it sit there, so it gives us huge bonuses. So Healing Surge is a viable choice for your healing, but I prefer Mending for the condition. Next up, we're going to take Bull's Charge, which is a 600 range, 2-second knockdown. This is huge This is one of the few linchpins of this Greatsword build, because you really want to be able to get this Bull's Charge off. Frenzy, this is another big linchpin. Frenzy, you gain quickness, you take 50% more damage, but you get quickness for 4 seconds and it breaks stuns. Huge. Can't explain how important this is, and we'll talk about the combo in a second. Next up, you've got choices. I prefer to take Balanced Stance, which you just talked about, gains you 8 seconds of stability. Now, you don't have to do that. If you're having trouble pinning people down, take Throw Bolas instead. But what I've noticed is Greatsword Warriors, their combo is very predictable, so what a lot of people have figured out is if you see a Greatsword Warrior come towards you, you just CC them out of their combo, and they're pretty much rendered useless. That's why we're taking balanced stances and going 20 down discipline to get mobile strikes, is so we render that strategy ineffective. And for our ultimate, we take Signet of Rage, which grants adrenaline as a passive, but when we activate it, gets Fury, Might, and Swiftness, which is huge. You always want to activate Signet of Rage right before a big fight comes up, usually a few seconds before, so you can move faster and get there quicker. Then we're going to take Knight's Amulet, which is Vitality, Power, Precision, along with Berserker's Jewel, which is Power, Precision, Critical Damage, Vitality. And then for our armor, we're going to take Runes of Divinity, all 6. So that's going to be plus 10 to all stats for each 6 ranks, which totals out to plus 60 to all stats. And on top of that, if you total out all 6 again, you're looking at plus 12% critical damage. And that's huge, because you've noticed what we do with this build, kind of you've probably guessed already, and maybe you're watching the footage and you can see it, is when we're about to get into a fight, if we can, we typically want to pop Signet of Rage. Then when we get close, we activate Balanced Stance. We get 600 range away, we Bull's Charge. In the middle of Bull's Charge, you activate your Frenzy, and then you unleash the Pain Train 100 times over with your skill, 100 blades, and oh boy, does that do damage. And because you've got your adrenaline bar, hopefully is building up, and you've got the Bull's Charge, so they can't really move, and then you activate a Balanced Stance, so they can't move you. You got Signet of Rage, so you've got all this might tacking onto that. And then also, once again, when you go down your traits, you start to realize just how much damage you're going to be doing. Because, I mean, this build, that's the combo. That's what you do, is you lock them down somehow, you get quickness somehow, and then you smash them to death with your 100 strikes. That's sort of the gimmick of the Greatsword Warrior. But the problem I've noticed with the Greatsword Warrior, and I've tried a lot of different things, is once again, you can get CC'd out of this combo really easily. If somebody's smart, a smart player will see a smart player will see a warrior with a greatsword coming and say, oh, I know, I'll CC him out of his combo. You see, a lot of people I see, they play Greatsword Warriors, is they don't go far enough down discipline to get mobile strikes, and they don't take Balanced Stance. So what that's saying is you're relying on your opponent to be bad. If you're relying on your opponent to be bad and hoping he doesn't CC you out of your combo, I don't think that's a good way to play any game, especially a competitive game like this. You should never rely on your opponent making mistakes to succeed. That, I think, by definition, is what we call bad play. Instead, what you want to do is you want to rely on yourself succeeding. And you give the power to you. You take it away from them. And that's why Balanced Stance and going 20 down discipline is so important with this build. Obviously, going 30 down arms and 20 down strength, and then taking, Knight's Amulet, Berserker Jewel, Signet of Rage, Runes of Divinity, it all makes sense. It's all about critical chance and critical damage. When you get somebody off on this combo, I've seen this combo do up to 16,000 damage on a single target. And because it's a greatsword, sometimes you can even catch multiple targets. And if you were watching the intro to this video, there was one clip I showed where I was actually catching multiple opponents, and if you tally it up, it's over 20,000 damage because I caught multiple opponents in it. That's huge. You can devastate a team with this build. But once again, you want to put the power in your hands. You want to rely on your skill. You don't want to rely on them making mistakes for this to work, because a Greatsword Warrior, in a lot of ways, is very telegraphed. His moveset is very evident, especially after you've played one. Some people say, oh, it's OP. Well, you know what? Go play a Greatsword Warrior a few times, and you'll find out that actually it's not OP. It's one of those things that just takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of foreknowledge. And one thing definitely, and this is something I've been trying to do, is I'm trying to read the enemy's buff and debuff bar. That's really hard for me to do, to read the enemy's buff and debuff bar while I'm playing and not lose sight of what I'm doing. But I find that's critical to being a good player. For instance, what if I'm about to execute Bull's Charge, hit my Frenzy, and then pull off my Greatsword combo, but I'm watching his bar, and I notice, and let's say it's an enemy warrior, he activates Balanced Stance. Well, what that says to me is for 8 seconds, I shouldn't use Bull's Charge. And what I should do is switch out my weapons to get my shield and my mace out and just endure until he gets balanced stance out. So you can see you completely can outthink your opponent if you can read what they're doing, because it displays their buffs and debuffs. And that's actually something I should have talked about earlier, is the mace and shield. You don't have to go mace and shield. You can go rifle, you can do other things. Mace and shield are nice because you've got a little bit more CC, and the shield is really nice, especially the 5 ability that just blocks things for a few seconds. This really helps you stay on a point and be more tanky. This build is not that tanky. I mean, if you want to play a pure warrior tank, this is not the build to do. But having that shield mace second out combo helps with that. And Knight's Amulet helps a little bit too, because it's vitality, power, and precision. I mean, vitality really toughens you up. And Berserker Jewel, once again, you see vitalities in that. And not to mention Superior Runes of Divinity do get plus $10 stats, which of course is going to affect your defense and your vitality. But at the end of the day, that's kind of the Greatsword Warrior build. It is brutally effective if executed correctly. It's my new favorite warrior build, and my guild has started playing tournaments, believe it or not, and I'll be talking about that in the next video, kind of what we're doing in tournaments, how we're doing, what's going on with that. It's a bit rocky starting out, you know, because we're more of a casual guild. We're not paid, we're not a pro team, we're not sponsored or anything like that. We're just dudes who like to PvP every now and again, and sometimes we take it a bit seriously and really try to buckle down. But all the footage you're seeing is from non-tournament play. Like I said, the next video hopefully will be about tournaments. I just wanted to talk about this build because I've been having a lot of success with the Greatsword Warrior. Like I said, go to the Guild Wars 2 build. I've linked it in the description / underbar of this video. Go check it out. It's all written in plain text for you. You can see what's going on. Alright, but let's get back to the footage. It looks like our warlord is under attack. We've triple capped. We're ahead by a lot. Oh, they just killed our lord, but we've still triple capped. We're still ahead by a lot. So it doesn't matter too much. Looks like we got some opponents up here. What am I going to do? Activate the combo. Signet of Rage. Balance stance. When a bulls charge in, my frenzy is down, but I'm still going to execute 100 blades and be able to destroy him. Where did I get that quickness from? More than likely I got that from my Signet because he was full health when I attacked him. Alright, and then right there, that's a good example of using Whirlwind Attack. Remember, Whirlwind Attack and Rush, your 3 and your 5 are both mobility skills, and because you, like a smart person that you are, have gone 20 down Discipline, those ability skills are going to break and mobilize. Finish off the opponent, and it's GG. We've triple capped. It's 400 a lot to barely 2 something. Or they're going to clock over 300 here pretty soon, especially if they can get a point cap off. But these 2 examples of PvP matches are just really good showcase for Greatsword Warrior. And I think it has a lot of potential. I think it has a lot of power. And like I discussed earlier, and I know I've probably already said this like 3 times, and I do tend to repeat myself sometimes. Oh, chance to get a combo up. Oh, let's see what happens. Bulls charge, 100. Oh, there we go. That's some pretty good damage. Looks like some pets in there. Alright, Whirlwind out. Try to focus. It's too late. We've already won. But like I said earlier, Greatsword Warrior, some people say it's overpowered. I don't think it is, because you can telegraph it if you're not careful. Put the power in your hands. Make sure you take balance stance and mobile strikes. And remember, it's all about critical hit chance, critical damage, and 100 blades. So try out the Greatsword Warrior. It is amazing fun. It is my new favorite build for Warrior. And remember to go read the build on guildwar2build.com. I put the link in the description. This is Cold Turkey. Thanks for watching.